guys, it's Jessica from the Finkelstein Memorial Library here with you again. And today we're going to be doing tie-dye Sharpie tie-dye, which you can do on anything. I've never tried it on anything other than white material. But I personally, when I'm doing traditional tie-dye, really love to tie-dye on like a light or medium gray color. I think it makes it look really cool. So you could always try that, and maybe we'll try it today because what I am going to be using the Sharpies on is this Ravenclaw shirt. And it does have gray sleeves, so maybe we'll try doing something on the gray sleeves. It is best to work on like cotton material. This is 50% cotton, 50% polyester. So we'll see how it goes. We're doing an experiment today, but essentially what we're doing is you color on the shirt using Sharpies. So you need your Sharpies, and then you drip rubbing alcohol, which we should all be using to disinfect right now. And so definitely ask permission before you use it for a craft to make sure that you have enough. But you drip alcohol onto the parts that you colored, and it makes the colors bleed out, kind of like tie-dye, but without the tie-dye. I do not have a dropper, so I just flung rubbing alcohol at me. I tested out this metal straw, and it seems to work. You put it in, you put your finger over it, take it out, and then you can drip it on wherever you want to drip it. That seems to work, so I'm going to try to use that technique. But use whatever technique works for you as long as the alcohol gets onto the shirt, right? Or whatever you're tie-dyeing. Maybe you want to do socks or like a cool bandana or something to wear during the summer. And then you also, I'm going to point you down towards my crafting area. You want to make sure to protect the surface you're working on. So I have a towel that's folded up, so that's about 4 layers. So hopefully, unless I go totally crazy with the rubbing alcohol, this will protect my table. But definitely, something that maybe is like a plastic sheeting kind of thing, if you have anything like that at home, might do better. Or if you have a deck or anything like that, maybe doing this outside, you do definitely want to make sure that you are working in a well-ventilated area, because anyone who has ever had a cut or anything knows that rubbing alcohol has got fumes. So definitely, I'm in my kitchen, there's an open room behind me, all of that. But maybe open a window if possible. Or like I said, if you have someplace that you can work outside and still be social distancing, there's no reason not to do that. All right, so let's get started here. I'm going to point you down towards my crafting area, and I'm gonna color my shirt first, and then I will put the alcohol on afterwards. As you can see, I have my trusty Sharpies here. I am just a Sharpie freak. I've never tried this with other markers, so if you don't have Sharpies and you want to try it with other markers, go ahead, experiment, why not? So let's get to it. Okay, so here's my workspace. I'm going to move you back a little bit. There we go. And so let's get to it. So I have a design on this shirt, so I think I'm going to start with coloring in the design in a tie-dye way, but that's definitely not necessary. Okay, so let's just start with that for now, just so that we can see what that ends up looking like with our alcohol. Where did my... Okay, so I'm just sticking that right in there and then putting my finger over the top, and then ba-bam. And it will bleed through to the back as you're doing this. So if you don't want that to happen, then you want to put some sort of layer between the front and back of your shirt or other items, whatever you're doing, to protect it. Okay, so that's what we've got so far. I think that looks pretty cool. So let's keep going and see what else we can do. And let's see, yep, it is soaking through to the back. So when we're all done, I'll try to show you what the back looks like too, just so that you can get an idea of if you want to have a layer between the front and the back. Let's see, we are decorating a Ravenclaw shirt, so let's go with some gold, bronze and blue, because we are book fans, not only movie fans. Let's see, what do we want to do? I've already put alcohol on these parts, but you can still kind of color on them anyway. And then just put more alcohol on to keep the spreading going. The amount of bleeding and spreading will also depend on what kind of alcohol you're using, what concentration it is. I believe the higher the concentration, the more it will spread. Oh yeah, that is looking totally cool, guys. I am into it. That's kind of why I chose to use this shirt, because I thought that this process could only make it better. And you know what? I think I'm right so far. So that's what it looks like so far. Pretty cool. And you can see over here where it's kind of bleeding outwards and then stopped at the edge of the alcohol, that if I put more there, it'll, kind of allow it to bleed out a little bit more if it wants to, if there's any extra alcohol there. Okay, so I wanted to use some purple and blue as well. Let's see, where do we want to go? Maybe we want to just go kind of around the whole thing. Going to fold it up like this. And just kind of hope that some of the colors go through the layers to give it more of a tie-dye effect. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit more. And then I think I'm going to call it quits. I'm loving how this is coming out. Now, as I'm finishing up, let me give you some finishing tips, which is just that Sharpie will fade from fabrics as you wash it. They are permanent markers, but detergents and the like are pretty powerful these days. So they do, they are able to really knock out those stains, even when the stains were done on purpose. But there are a couple of things we can do to try to get it to stay. Okay. Hello. All right, so here's my finished product. It is very drenched, but that's what it looks like on the front, and that is what it looks like on the back. So the design does come through onto the back. If you want, you can kind of throw some extra alcohol on the back to try to make it a little less like of a, mirror of the front, but there's not too much you can do about it. It's pretty much going to look like a mirror of the front. Yeah, so that's what the back looks like, and the front. Okay, so number one, before I even tell you what to do to kind of try to set this in a little bit more, you know what, I need to color that gray. I need to color the bird gray. I just do. So hold on, bear with for a moment. Oh no, does my gray not work? My gray doesn't work. All right, we'll use this blue. Okay, it just looked weird to have that like one thing be white. Okay, so anyway, the number one thing to remember is that before you do either of these two options to set your design is to let the shirt dry completely. Both of these methods of setting the design involve heat. And you can probably tell by the fumes coming off of it, but rubbing alcohol is extremely combustible and extremely flammable, which means that it lights on fire like that. So you want to wait until your shirt is 100% dry. I would even leave it overnight until tomorrow to make sure that it's dry before doing either of these two options. Now, you can either, once it is dry, you can either iron the design or you can put it in the dryer on high for about 15 minutes. That will set the design. It will probably still fade over time, but most tie-dye honestly does. So if you do either of those options, your design can last for, a good while. And it won't completely disappear, it'll just fade. Which will just give it that cool lived-in vibe. So I'm very excited to wear this for my next Harry Potter party. So thank you for joining me today. If you do any arts and crafts while you are self-isolating in this time of coronavirus, definitely bring it into the library in the youth services area. When we reopen, we're going to be having our art show of children's and teen art that they did while they were in isolation. And hey, even a shirt like this, maybe we'll hang it on the wall. Who knows? You could always bring it in, and whatever we have space for, we'll put up there as long as it's, appropriate. I'm looking at you teenagers. So I'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.